Can you hear me okay? Yep, great. I'm actually not Connor. This is Connor. I'm Dr. Luke Boudreau, and today we're going to talk about records on TODA with Connor. I'm the clinical lead and co-founder of Bear Health Technologies. I'm also the Chief Operations Officer of Chancellor's Way Medical Arts Center, which is a medical center on the University of Guelph campus. And I'll let Connor introduce himself here.
Hey everyone, my name is Connor Hutchison. I'm co-founder and the CEO of Bear Health Technologies. Prior to Bear Health Tech, I was involved with various management health services positions in the federal government for over a decade.
So a little bit about Bear Health Technologies. Bear actually stands for Biomedical Evaluation Assessment Resource. And essentially what we've done at Bear is we've taken private data accounts with AI engines and transformed medical records or medical data into something that's more useful, understandable, and intelligent for both consumer, clinicians, and third parties. So some of the problems we identified with health records, and these problems actually transcend all records of any type. Number one problem was data silos, which still exists and is still a major issue here in Ontario. Currently in Ontario, we have 12 different electronic medical record systems, and none of them communicate with each other, which is a pretty significant problem. In the medical facility that I run, we have 3 separate EMR systems that do not communicate, which creates a lot of headaches, extra work, leads to inaccessibility of data, which could impact your health, and limits the use of that data. So the other problem with inaccessibility is obtaining your health record. If I asked all of you to go out and obtain your health record, complete health record from me tomorrow, probably very few of you could do it. Maybe 2 of you could do it organically. But once you obtain that record, say you were able to get that record, could you actually understand it? Could you interpret your medical record? Or would you need someone like me to do it for you, or help with an AI engine or an app? We'll do a case study. Now, we're not going to do a demo, but just a case study of a situation here. We're going to use high blood pressure, and I'll just pretend it's me, even though I don't have high blood pressure. I may have elevated blood pressure right now, standing in front of you, but I don't think it's high. So let's just say I break my ankle and I'm going to present to an emergency department. And part of the workup, the nurse will likely take my blood pressure. Oh, what's going on here? This Mac can't connect to it. Okay, we'll just say it later. Okay, we're back. So anyway, she's going to take my blood pressure, and let's just say it's 140/90, which is high. It's not super high, but 120/80 would be kind of the normal. So since I broke my ankle, I'm likely under a lot of stress, and the nurse probably thinks, okay, that's the reason why the blood pressure is high. So she doesn't mention it to me. She also knows that it's generally accepted in healthcare that you need 3 consecutive measures of high blood pressure to be formally diagnosed with high blood pressure. So she's not really going to say much to me. Anyway, I get treated, I move on. 6 months later, I get the flu and I end up in a walk-in clinic. Again, the nurse is going to triage me in this walk-in if it's an urgent care. And again, my reading comes out to 140/90. But then again, the nurse thinks, okay, he's got the flu, not feeling well. It's only 1 reading. I'm not going to say anything about it. Then 6 months later, I present to my family physician's office for my regular checkup. And again, my blood pressure is taken. Again, the reading is the same, but my physician knows you really need 3 readings, and this is only just 1. So here we have data silos, the hospital, the walk-in clinic, the family physician office, all leading to inaccessible data that would impact my health, limiting the use of my health record. Now I'm a hypertensive person, unmanaged, potentially leading to dire consequences for myself, and nobody even knows it. So what would be the solution to this? I think Connor has the solutions.
So basically, what we've decided to approach this problem actively with is to solve silos, change the accessibility, and actually use the information is a decentralized private data account that acts as your own personal microserver. So that's the first component. And what that does is it allows the individual to control their data, use their data how they want, share their data how they want, pull and push their data how they want. So essentially it's all contained within their own data account. And really, like, as an example, we look at what Luke was explaining, where you have the silos. This is eliminated, so imagine now you had all this information, you could go share this with your clinician just by permission-based access. And now all of these silos are eliminated, accessibility is completely there, and the use of the information is highly effective to diagnose with hypertension. The beauty of this is it actually works on all records. So we used health records as a case-by-case because that's our forte, but every record is the same, whether it's legal, whether it's financial, whether it's medical, wills, it really doesn't matter. And really when we can put this in a private data account, it changes everything from something that's centralized or federated into a more user-centric identity, and that's what we've done at Bear Health Technologies. So what is our technology? Well, our technology, or the decentralized record platform, it secures your data on an exchange using permissions and tokens. It's HIPAA, GDPR compliant, SOC compliant, Privacy Shield compliant, the whole works. And essentially, we made it efficient and intelligent. So within this data account, you have various AI-enabled APIs and applications that can actually give you better insight on your records and make correlations that you may or may not have had beforehand. And you don't need a doctor, a lawyer, or a banker necessarily to tell you exactly how and why that problem is there. We made it customizable and confidential, so essentially everything sits within your account. Any of the data that generates is in your account. Anything that's outside of it can be pulled into your account. Only you see what interfaces that you're working with, what AI applications have applied, and some of the correlations with that. So it's not shared, it's not on any other centralized silo. And scalable architecture, it's in the cloud. It can work anywhere, anytime, with any device, on any infrastructure. And that's basically what makes it so easy to use and just about anywhere. So with the TODA protocol, we've been able to take it to another level. This is where we see things going. Imagine now that you can take a totally decentralized private data account and combine that with a decentralized technology. It takes the limits off how records in any capacity are used. So really, if we look at the security and the efficiency of the TODA protocol, we look at the immutability as well as how you can actually change or update the information. So that's a huge benefit because it creates trustworthiness, and that's definitely lacking with record exchanges. The confidentiality and scalability surpasses that with the granularity of the protocol itself. What this allows us to do is take very bulky, burdensome, really cumbersome type records and now apply it in something that's very, very easy to exchange and use. And this is really this culmination, we believe, is where this is going to move us closer to a self-sovereign identity, where we can start changing how we use our information, our records, and our data, and it's controlled by us with no other ramifications per se. So what are the opportunities resulting from this integration? Well, it's unlimited, really. If we look at the value that's created on every vertical, every business, every system, with this integration, you can now start saying, I want to have my immunizations, for example, my health record, maybe my insurance as well in my account, and maybe this is going to change my premiums, what kind of services they provide me, the underwriting, everything that you release to the insurer based on a mutually agreed upon value proposition where, oh, if I give you this information, well, we'll share it, but you're going to lower my premiums and give me better services per se. This applies the same with banking. Your services are going to be more integrated with the consumer. The consumer has benefits because at the end of the day, they got better banking, better interest rates. Well, why wouldn't they share a little bit of that information? So really, at the end of the day, it's the limits are boundless, and that concludes our presentation, and we're happy to take some questions. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. That was great. So you'll hear a lot today about the efficiency and scalability of TODA, how we can use that to solve problems that other blockchains that are out there right now can't solve. One of the reasons I really like this particular project is that it's highlighting another aspect of the TODA protocol, which is that it puts the ownership of your data back into your hands. And so this is clearly a great fit for this project because it solves those first two pain points of data silos and inaccessibility. If you control your data, then you have access to it at all times, everywhere that you go, every clinic that you go into, every time you need to show your record to someone, you have it, you own it. But it also starts to solve a problem that Todd highlighted, which is that right now your personal data is spread out through hundreds and thousands of companies that you don't even know about. You have no control over, you're not their client, you have no say over what they do with their data. And if one of those gets corrupted or is accessed in an illicit manner or a sysadmin there goes rogue and sells your data, that can be used to cause pain to you in a way that you don't even know about necessarily. You have no direct control over it. And so putting that data back into your hands not only solves these problems, but it also starts to address this giant security hole that each of us has where our personal data is out there. So I think that's a really interesting aspect of this. And Ubase has a very similar use of the TODA protocol in that respect. So we've got time for 2 questions, I think. Just yell them out, and then I'll repeat them.
Yeah. Hi. Regarding the data set that the patient will have and to free to medical practitioner, how is he going to do that? Because if I go to a doctor, I don't know what kind of data I should give him.
Okay, so how do you know what data set to provide to the doctor out of the records that you have personal control over in this system, in Records on TODA? Is that right?
Yeah, so essentially, it doesn't matter what type of record it is, it's all onboarded in your account. So you don't have to be selective with what data you're sharing. It's your account, you own it. Once it's in there, it's yours. No one else has it. And it's what permissions you set allow other individuals to access. Specifically, it could be a data set. It could be a time, a duration, and a location just for that visit of 15 minutes. It could be the same with any record, like your legal documents, you meet with your lawyer, you meet with your banker, same idea.
I think there's also opportunity for the value add that Records on TODA is bringing to the situation. They mentioned briefly this idea that you might have an AI or an expert system that's helping you understand your health data. It can also help you understand what data you need to provide to the medical practitioner in that moment. What do they need to see? And this is something that they can bring in terms of their proprietary technology that's added on top of the base TODA layer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. One more question, Lila.
So this is a fantastic idea, and I've actually advised multiple companies who try to break into this segment. The challenge there is integration, right? So the doctor actually has to, whatever he or she writes, they need to put this into the system, etc., right? And every doctor has to. It's a network effect. Can you tell us a little bit about how do you go about cracking that problem?
Yeah, so basically the way we look at it specifically with how we approach medical records, it is the onboarding process. It's, I guess the best way I can describe it without kind of going into too much detail on it is, imagine that you have, like you said, all this segregated data across like 50 different clinics. When we request it as an agent under the HIPAA guidelines, or PHIPAA for Canada, when we onboard that data, it's actually put into your data account. Like it's, how to explain this?
I think the answer is they have some strong connections to the local industry in terms of the health records, and then the idea is to expand from that base set outward both geographically and in terms of the verticals.
Thank you. That's better said.
Let's have another hand for Luke and Connor.